You must have friends in high places.
You have no idea.
As the summer slowly comes to an end, things are really starting to heat up down in Boyle Heights. Welcome back, everyone. This is Smash This Podcast review of Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 1, Wheel of Misfortune. Holy cow. First off, I just want to say I absolutely loved the episode. The cinematics in the beginning of the episode were just when you thought they couldn't get any better. Man, how they portray Dario in jail, which the funny part is, because the diehard fans are like, how's he gonna get out? What's gonna happen to him? He just walks right out. It's absolutely hilarious. Oh, not without stopping at the front desk, though, and getting a little, we get, it's just too damn funny. I had heard rumors, within the last few months that the Honky Tonk Man, remember the Honky Tonk Man, longest reigning IC champ in WWE? I had heard little things here and there that he was supposed to make some kind of appearance on Lucha Underground this season. Not sure where, not sure when. But sure enough, there he was, the guy behind the desk giving Dario Cueto his stuff back, his money clip, his big key, and whatever. He had a couple other things. And it's just too damn funny. So yeah, just a little shout out to Honky Tonk Man. Congrats on your Lucha Underground debut. Is he gonna appear anywhere else in the season? I have absolutely no idea. It'd be kind of cool if he just like popped in here and there, different different roles, like he's in the background or something. Like some background thing, like a janitor at the temple or something. Just something quirky like that. I think that'd be so hilarious. But if this is the only time we're going to see him this season was in the first episode, that's fine. But that's hilarious. That was really cool to see. So yeah, Dario Cueto is sprung out of jail, and you've got to imagine that he wasn't in there too long after he was, put in there, but he had time for a quick workout. So he got his key back, and you gotta wonder what the time span really was. It really couldn't have been that long that he was in jail. But then we get the scene. Excuse me. We get the scene of him going in to the limo. And he's, it's real quick, he's talking to Delgado, Councilman Delgado, and then there's the mystery guy at the end of the limo, still in the dark, but he's got this big metal claw hand, whatever, like metallic glove fist thing, whatever. And, he says to Dario, and he's like, if you waste my time again, your next sentence will be death. And the look on their faces, Delgado's like, oh, yeah, and there's this guy down here in the limo, and we're going to just listen to him, and just, there's this calm look of terror on both their faces, like, and then they do the, the close-up on Dario, and he's like, gulp. Pretty funny. So then it goes straight from there to back to the temple where Matt Striker and Vampiro kick off the first episode. And Vampiro's just in this happy zone. He's just happy to be back, happy to be at the side of Matt Striker, and it's all smiles. And it's that way through majority of the episode. Until later, and I'll get to that. The first thing that happens is Dario introduces Dario's Dial of Doom, where there's like 9 or 10 slots on it, and whenever he spins it, it'll give someone each, whoever has a slot on the dial there, it'll give them an opportunity for a championship match against Matanza. So right off the bat, it has this feeling like Matanza's going to be champ for quite a while. That's the image you're supposed to get. It's because the people that are on it haven't fought Matanza before, but the people that are on it are also kind of like, okay, could this guy beat him? No. Could this guy beat him? Hell no. Could this, even, okay, no offense, Mariposa, but Mariposa's on that list, and it's like, all right, all respect and love to the women of Lucha Underground. They are all badass bitches, okay? But man, Mariposa, I just can't see her even knocking Matanza down. I just can't. But she did have a great match with Sexy Star, so I'll give her that. Those two really kicked the snot out of each other. So, well, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe her chances aren't that bad. But just he's so tough. It's just crazy. But the first spin happens, and it's Son of Havoc, and that match is actually really good, but he destroys Son of Havoc. So, he actually comes off of last season with his loss to Dr. Wagner Jr. In the first episode here, he gets a shot at the championship. So, hey, Son of Havoc, props to you, man. At least you from getting screwed at the end of last season, this first episode kind of made up for that. But I think, like they said in the episode, it's like, how do you prepare for that? It's just nuts. Good match, though. Great match. But, Matanza still is champ. Then, next segment, we get to Dario in his office, and he gets interrupted with whatever he's doing by the Worldwide Underground, and Mundo wants his championship. He wants it bad. And it's just comical because you look at PJ Black and Evans there, and they're just kind of like his minions, like repeating what he says, which makes it even funnier. Except Mundo's trying to be like, oh, so serious and demanding, but then you got the Worldwide Underground twins next to him, you're chiming in, which just adds that comedic element. It's great. And then they talk about, they do a little flashback to Ultima Lucha Dos and how they attack Angelico for interfering in the match and having them lose their trios championships. And they really do one over on him. So, the only thing I'm a little confused about is, did they attack him because they lost the championships, or because when he showed up, he was like on crutches, and he wasn't in crutches here. So that's the only like little hiccup in like the timeline thing that I'm a little confused about, and I don't want to overthink this, So they're like, yeah, we took care of him, and everyone's laughing, and ah ha 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 ha. They took care of Angelico. And Dario's like, well, that's a great story, but you're still not getting your shot. But he announces that Taya versus Sexy Star is going to happen, and it's going to be for the Gift of the Gods title, which ends up being a really good match. But right before that, we get a challenge from Ivelisse in the ring to Katrina. And now, like I said before in other videos, we've got 40 weeks of Lucha Underground going on. And somewhere in the last few weeks there, we're going to get Ultima Lucha Trace. Well, Ivelisse challenged her for a match at Ultima Lucha Trace. So we already have one match set for the finale 40 weeks from now, almost a year away. And that's interesting. And that's one thing, like I said before, that's one thing that Lucha Underground has been able to do. They'll build up rivalries, but they won't hit on them every single episode. Like, okay, this is a perfect example right here. Ivelisse versus Katrina is going to happen somewhere down the road, a little less than a year from now. 40 weeks away-ish, give or take a week, depending on how they do the whole, how many weeks of Ultima Lucha Trace there is. Maybe 3 weeks, 2, whatever. And they're going to touch on that throughout the next several weeks leading up to that until next summer. But they're not going to show you stuff every single week. They're just going to show you little things like every few weeks to keep you vested in that timeline. So, and that's just brilliant. That's what they did last season. They had rivalries that lasted all season long, but they didn't shove it down your throat till you were like, oh God, can we get out of this feud already? That's one of the brilliant ways that they do their writing. So yeah, the Gift of the Gods Championship match between Taya and Sexy Star. And Mundo interferes. Or not interferes. Well, yeah, he does do some interfering in the match because the whole Worldwide Underground shows up. And when Sexy Star retains, then Taya and the rest of them start beating down Sexy Star. And the Trios Championships show up to rescue Sexy Star. So that was kind of cool. We get to see the Trios champs, even though they weren't in a match. Next, we see Marty the Moth in Dario's office, and they're talking back and forth about Killshot. And about, how he's... Marty's like, yeah, I've moved on for that. I'm done with him. But Dario says, but Killshot's not done with you, and why don't you give him a shot to get those tags back? Because that's still important to Killshot. That's still, it's still one of those undone things from last season. And Dario says, we're gonna put you in a weapons of mass destruction match. So we're gonna get Marty versus Killshot next week. And Marty is sitting there playing with the tags and just this cackling crazy laugh. And they're both Dario and Marty are both laughing at each other, but by the end of the segment, Dario's not laughing anymore. He's looking at Marty like, what the hell is the matter with you, dude? He's just... Marty is so twisted, so crazy. Man. Just nuts. One of the best characters on the show, absolutely, without a doubt. It makes guys like Bray Wyatt look like they just they're kindergarten players, just really nothing to worry about at all. Jeez Louise. Let's see. Then we get the headlining match of the episode: Rey Mysterio versus Pentagon Dark. This was just another great match in the episode. these two really knocked it out of the park. Very cool thing at the beginning, though, in the introduction, is Ray's coming down and he's showing off some new ring gear, some new pants with some new, black and some neon green colors, some cool stuff. He's got a mask on that they said was his uncle's back in the day, or something to that effect. So it was like an old school match, and so that was really cool to see, and that's just another great thing about Vampiro and Matt Striker, how they play off each other. They'll also, they don't just call the match, which is hilarious at times, but they also will throw little historical things in there to talk about the product and who's in the ring and where they came from, and stuff like that. Like they were talking about Taya was Canadian, and stuff like that, or where she trained and everything. That's all great little nuggets, in this show. But yeah, Ray and Pentagon Dark had a great match. Ray comes off with a win, but before this all ends, Pentagon Dark approaches Vampiro and he's talking to him, and Vampiro just like completely shuts down. He just gets this, it's almost like a mild panic attack. Like he's like, you know what? He takes off his headphones. He's like, you know what? I'm out. He just walks off. He's like, I'm leaving. Just later. Like he wasn't prepared for that. Like the old Vampiro was back, like the good side of Vampiro. You know what I mean? The calm, cool, collected guy. And then all of a sudden, Pentagon Dark triggered something, and that just set him off, and Vampiro got real uncomfortable, and he had to leave. And the finish of the match was incredible. The sunset flip pile driver, that's something you don't see every day. That was really freaking cool to see Ray do that. Then Pentagon Dark attacks Ray at the end, and Azteca Jr., Dragon Azteca Jr. comes in and saves him, which was, good to see him. So we get a couple saves throughout this episode, and it's a nice little way to introduce more people into the episode, So that'll be interesting to see where that goes. There's so many different ways this can go, because obviously the stuff between Pentagon Dark and Vampiro isn't done. Dragon Azteca is saving Ray, so we might see something between Dragon Azteca and Pentagon Dark down the road, and we may even see a rematch between Ray and Pentagon Dark. So there's all sorts of things that could happen here. Not speculating too much. I'm just saying, there's plenty of things that could happen in the aftermath of this. Then we see where Vampiro actually went. He went back to the locker room, where we see Prince Puma just sitting there like contemplating life, and he's, it's like he's beating himself up over the stuff that happened this last season. And Puma's like, I don't need any advice from you. And Vampiro was like, well, if you take anything, take this. And he's like, if you want to get back to your old self, you know what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to beat Mil Muertes. And so that's interesting that Vampiro is offering advice to Prince Puma in the realm of kind of like being a manager, because Conan's not around anymore. You can see this going a lot of different ways, Is it going to end up somewhere down the road where things get bad between Vampiro and and Prince Puma. Is it going to be a thing like where Vampiro was trying to mentor Pentagon Dark and things went south there, so now Vampiro feels like he screwed up that one, so now he's got to go try to do something positive over here to make up for his downfalls over here. That's kind of what I'm picking up here. I really messed this up, but hey, here's a guy over here that could use some help. I'll go help Prince Puma. That's how I look at that as. So that does it for this episode. Great way to kick off the season. Great matches, great cinematics. I love this stuff. And I just want to let you guys know, if you hadn't, followed that closely, I want to let you guys know that later tonight I'll be on The Wrestle Addict as a new host with my cohorts Chris Phoenix and Chris Oni, and we'll be talking some Lucha Underground, going over some points from this episode. So if you just can't get enough of Lucha Underground talk, Chris Phoenix is a very passionate guy when it comes to Lucha Underground, same as myself. So, just want to let you know about that. That'll be on the Wrestle Addict YouTube page live later tonight. They usually go, I think it's like 7 p.m. Eastern. Just go to the Wrestle Addict social media pages. They'll be promoting stuff later, I'm sure. But yeah, and we'll be doing other talk, probably doing some Backlash predictions as well, along with a few other topics in the world of wrestling this week. I'm very excited to do that, to get a chance to do something new. I'll be doing that, like I said, I'll be doing that every other week. So join us over there. Yeah, I've got my I've got my hand in a lot of different cookie jars, but it's an exciting time for me doing, Smash This podcast, throwing all my stuff on here, rambling about wrestling's coming back, and also my stuff with the Wrestle Addict. So yeah, I'm all over the place lately, but hey, that's what I do. I love this stuff. So yeah, go check that out later tonight if you want to. And give the show some love, and thanks for watching.